Is next episode the finale?
I think it's safe to say that She-Hulk's finale smashed expectations. This show's been a delightful romp from start to finish, and the finale introduced a number of plot threads that'll keep fans talking in typical Marvel fashion for a long time down the road. So I figured, why not break down that finale a little bit? Let's go ahead and dive right into it.
This way, folks.
First off, the opening recap. Beautiful homage to the Incredible Hulk series from the 70s, starring Lou Ferrigno recreating the highlights of the She-Hulk series. Following that nostalgia trip, we see Jen dealing with the aftermath of getting doxxed by Intelligentsia, which I'm surprised weren't spelled with a J, since it was created specifically to oust She-Hulk, which then led to Jen deciding to visit Emil Blonsky's mental health retreat to clear her head. Meanwhile, Nikki managed to get an in with Intelligentsia after sending them an embarrassing video of Jen twerking in college. I feel like we all have those kinds of skeletons in our closet. Maybe not that specific one, but you know, we've all done embarrassing things. And who does she send in but everyone's favorite himbo, Pug? After infiltrating the incel lodge, we find out that not only was Jen's crappy date Todd behind the whole thing, but he actually invited the Abomination to give the members of Intelligentsia a TED Talk. Oh, and Todd also had Jen's hot date Josh steal her blood so that he could Hulk out and become the superhero that he was always destined to be, or something like that. Before we get our requisite overstuffed superhero brawl, featuring Bruce Banner out of seemingly nowhere, Jen decided that she had enough of this insanity and the screen cut to black, kicking the audience back to the Disney Plus home menu. But not really. From there, Jen literally jumped into the documentary series, Avengers Assemble, to figure out what was going on. After chastising the writer's room for not knowing how to wrap the show up in a satisfying way, she went straight to the top. Kevin! No, not Kevin Feige, head of Marvel Studios, it's Kevin, an AI that shapes the future of the MCU, along with Jen's life. But this is Jen's show that we're talking about, and she isn't going down without a fight. Although she doesn't have the VFX budget to Hulk out, she remembered that this is still a lawyer comedy, and made her closing arguments that her show should end with keeping her personal stakes in mind, not as a bloated action spectacle like most of the MCU.
That'll be fine.
After Kevin lets her go back to her show, Jen properly hands Todd and Abomination over to the cops, and then she takes her new bestie Matt Murdock home to meet her parents. It's about as awkward as you've come to expect from this family, but you can tell everything's gonna be okay. While Jennifer's returning to her law career, it's currently uncertain if she's going back to GLK&H. But I'm hoping that next season we'll have her open an LA branch of Daredevil's law firm. I think Hulk, Nelson, and Murdoch has a nice ring to it. And what would a family dinner be without the entire family? Am I right? Bruce comes back from space in a way that is significantly less intrusive than Kevin's cluttered climax, and he even brought his son. That's right, the Hulk has a son, just like he does in the comics. It's been clear from the Sicarian ship in the first episode that the MCU still has more traditional Hulk stories in the can, and it's clear that they're planning to draw from the events of the Planet Hulk story arc that Thor Ragnarok didn't adapt. Where could we possibly see these threads continue? While considering what Jen told Kevin, they're saving it for the movie, which could mean we're finally getting a good MCU Hulk movie after all of these years. Seriously, The Incredible Hulk came out in 2008. It's very likely that there are people watching this video right now who weren't even born yet. I mean, yeah, they'd be young, but they could still totally be watching. Finally, there's the classic Marvel mid-credits scene, which sees Emil Blonsky getting spirited away from his cell by the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Wong. It's clearly calling back to Shang-Chi, where Wong took Emil to the fight ring in China to train, although now he's inviting him to stay at Karmatage. This is where we see Emil accuse Wong of getting sucked into yet another show. And while that's likely just poking fun at his binging habits, it could be another sly meta reference to Wong possibly showing up in a future MCU show. Though, at this point, not really sure where. It's a movie and not a show, but it would be incredible to see these two show up in the Thunderbolts in some capacity. After all, the lineup for that project is basically a low-powered anti-hero Avengers squad, giving them what's essentially an evil Hulk to fight alongside and potentially against would be awesome. Or maybe we're gonna get an MCU sitcom about Wong and his wacky roommates. I mean, he's got Abomination and America Chavez there now, so don't tell me you wouldn't watch it, because I know that I would. Well, what did you think of the finale? Did the fourth wall breaks work for you? Do you think that Hulk's son Scar will attend Midtown High or go somewhere a little bit more Hulkish? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're down there, why not like the video and be sure to subscribe for even more great content just like this in the future.